You know, I want to just take it out to 60,000 again. And this just goes back fundamentally to the role of this council. I'm growingly disappointed and disturbed, I think, by what I feel like is just kind of us kind of shirking our responsibility for accountability. We've had many instances that we've discussed in this dais from these seats that have concerned many of us around the lack of communication and accountability with decisions that have happened that might be the responsibility of the administration or the mayor or any one member of council. What I never want to see us do is to decide that it's not important for us to know what happened, to know the truth, and to be able to trust the things that are being said by our administration and by the people who are leading our city. And if that's ever in question, then we need to just take a beat and say something's wrong. I mean, we've had a couple instances where I've sat as a member of this council and we've had people testifying about this and somebody else says different, and I'm not convinced that the truth ever really came out. That's not okay. We take an oath when we swear in, and I remember my oath, which is to uphold the charter, not to shirk it, not to dance around it, not to even get close to it. But we've had many instances in these chambers right here where I felt like we haven't, as a council, demanded complete adherence to the charter. If we don't do that, then why are we here? Why do we take the oath in the first place? And the community has real concerns about this. And why is it important? Because the charter says that the city manager has the responsibility, free from political interference. I'm not 100% about whether that happened. That's enough for me to ask questions. Whether it's done in a formal investigation or somebody just tell the truth. I did not get weeks of conversations from the city manager before the termination. I found out the day of. Most of the reports were 7 days old. And at the top of the reports, they said this report was prepared at the request of the Human Resources Department and the city solicitor. Read the reports. They say that at the top of the report. It doesn't say I write this of my free will. I was directed to do this. And they were 7 days old, which means that this decision wasn't weeks old. If reports are 7 days old, and the individual to whom those reports were directed didn't even get the chance to review them before termination. You're an employment lawyer, I'm an employment lawyer. That's not something that would even hold up. You're not allowed to fire someone without them getting the chance to review the report and to be able to respond to it. And so back to 60,000, no matter what it is. And I like that Mr. Winburn went into his own personal situation because I think it's important. No matter what it is, we, this dais, us as individuals elected by the people taking an oath, should always demand transparency, accountability, full disclosure. That's all. And I've just been too uncomfortable in too many situations here. We can talk about the union raises and the potential interference with that. We can talk about the park board and what continues to happen around that. We can talk about this. The fact that I feel like we're continuing to say, well, it feels a little weird, but it's okay. We'll just let it go. Who holds the standard? Who's the standard bearer? We just talked about maybe giving a raise without an evaluation. I mean, I just feel like we're going down this slippery slope of just like, oh, it's just okay. Then who stands up for the charter? Who stands up for what people want to hear? Who stands up for the fact that people don't trust the decision makers in this building? And they're concerned about the impact that's going to have on the future. If I'm Chief Isaac, and that was one of the questions that Councilmember Sittenfeld had, I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable with the fact that somebody could be terminated this way because I would worry that that could be me. And that's what I said to Chief Isaac on the day that he got sworn in, is that if we have a standard for the way that people get terminated and we follow that standard, anyone in a job should feel comfortable that they're not going to be treated unfairly. And so I think the big issue here, and none of us, I don't think, were prepared to revisit this issue. None of us were. I think what the emails did was cause us to think maybe our original doubts about this might have been right. Maybe our doubts about whether this was a city manager's decision made of his own accord without any political influence, maybe there might be some truth to that. None of us planned that. None of us wrote the email. None of us released the email, had nothing to do with it. But it brought back up, I think, to the public's mind, maybe there was something there that we didn't know. And it happened really fast. It was already done by the time we even were apprised of it, and I think that raises some concerns. But I want to say, going back to 60,000, and I'll conclude, it's up to us to say in every single instance that we're going to do what's right. Whether it hurts people's feelings, whether it's seen as controversial, whether it's viewed as political or otherwise. And I'm getting really tired of feeling like every time I sit in this dais, the standard that I feel like I was sworn to protect continues to be eroded. I'm not willing to do it because I know why I became an elected leader, and I believe that it's important for people to trust the people they put in these seats. And I'm willing to expose and open myself up to the same scrutiny that I'm requiring of everyone else. And that should be a standard we uphold in every circumstance, not conditionally, every single time.